We are back here with some Mega Man X8. We are gonna go chip hunting. There is a lot of stuff to get in this game because not only are there the regular upgrades in terms of health and damage output, and there are certain other ones specific to each of the characters, but you also have two whole sets of armor for X, each of which have 4 parts, and Zero has his own set of weapons, and they're just general upgrades including sub-tanks and weapon tank and all that kind of stuff. So got a lot to get to. This video will contain every single item that we did not get in the first run through each of the stages. I don't think I got too many of the items on the first run through, so this video will have pretty much all of them. And some of the stages, they have no items. I think Kickable Man of War was the only one that had no items. It's the one where you chase around the jellyfish thing, the Man of War, in the spaceship. And there are some stages that have as many as 4 parts. So got a lot of hunting to do, and let's get it underway. We'll start off with Noah's Park. This is in the middle, right where the waterfall is, right after you get out of the grassy area. And if you just have Zero, I think when you played this the first time, we just had Axel at this point. So there's just a double jump. And then later on in the stage, you have to have the Icarus armor, the head part for X, so you can break that top piece, get that part right there. And then, last one, if you have X, it's just wide open door right in front of you. And this one, I think, is it's one of the Icarus parts. And it's probably it's the easiest first part to get of any of the armors. So yeah, it's the Buster part for the Icarus, and that's the one that allows you to charge your Buster all the way. So that's it for Noah's Park. Moving on to the Inferno. This one has a lot of parts. This is in the second area after the descending platforms, in the spiky area. As you can see, quite a few spikes. So if we drop down, just keep going through it as per usual. This is one where Zero comes in handy a lot. Just the double jump and the dash after that is super handy. So just make your way all the way down here. And then you just cling to the well, first, yeah, so we can actually, if you have the hammer weapon, which is another unlock in this stage, if you have the hammer weapon all ready to go, just equip that, and there's an item right below. That's a breakable plate if you do the fully charged hammer attack, which I'm not going to bother to do here, but let's keep on going. And if we cling to this left wall, over here, and we go up, you'll see there's like a hidden kind of passageway, and as you'd expect, more spikes, and the windows are narrower than they were even in the regular part of the stage. So the double jump comes in super handy here, and this ends up being another armor part for X, and the capsules being very unresponsive. And so this is, let's see what this is. Yeah, this is the foot part for the H armor. And if we continue going down, this was actually kind of interesting. There's some pieces of armor in this game where it's like, hey, how did you figure out how to get these chips? It's crazy. So if you go down pretty much all the way, right before the door, there'll be this flying dude right here. You have to use Axel and use the copy shot to absorb his power. If you want to guess what his power is, it's flying. So you can just kill yourself at that point, and you'll go back to the beginning part of the stage, which is where you'll need to access. Equip that power, and now you'll be able to fly. This flying mechanic is kind of weird. You press B once to go up, and then again to go to the left. And there you have it. That's all for that stage. Keep going. This is one where the robot's chasing you all the way. You just gotta jump on the dinosaur bones, do a dash attack. There you go. After you fight it off for the first time, if you just drop down here all the way, and you use one of the fire attacks, I think either X or Zero or Axel can use their respective fire attacks, and you get one more piece of armor here. This one is the Icarus body parts. I think they reduce your damage by 1/2, which is huge throughout the rest of the game, especially if you couple that with the health upgrades. If we just climb back up to where we were, you'll have to do a little bit of platforming here, a little bit of blind platforming. You can't really see. You have to kind of leap of faith a couple of these guys. And there's one right here. And now we can just follow Mr. Robot down all the way down here, and there will be one kind of slot right there. You break that bridge, right? And if you have the crystal wall power up from the boss, you can use that, and there'll be an item right there waiting for you. You have to use the fully charged one. On to the bamboo pandemonium stage. You'll see that enemy right there. You'll have to copy shot him with Axel, and later on in the stage, that'll come in handy when you get to this part with the weighted platforms. If we come all the way down, you don't want it. That's how you get out of the stage. But if you go down and you go to the left, and you'll see we can actually transform that enemy can turn into a ball. And so we'll be able to transform into a ball ourselves. Boom, there you have it. And a little bit later on the stage, there's this platform right here. You're going to use the Raikusen power. So you're going to jump, dash. Well, not like that. you have to make sure you hit the special move button while you're still in the middle of the dash. And I still kind of messed it up. So I had the spike protection there, so that came in handy. So, or you could just hover over there with Axel and then just take the hit on the spikes. So either way, really. And this is the foot part, I believe, for the Icarus armor, which allows you to jump super high. Okay, this one is probably one of the harder ones, just because if you mess it up, you have to reset at the very beginning of the stage, because that's where the ride armor is. So I'm going to walk you through the whole entire thing right here. We have to ferry the ride armor through the entirety of the stage, and if at any point you mess it up or you die, then you lose the ride armor and you have to exit the stage completely and come all the way back. And the ride armor actually makes it really easy to get to the stage. You don't have to really worry about damage. You know, most enemies can't even damage you, and the ones that can, you have plenty of health to overcome that. See, this is the first tricky part. You gotta jump out of the armor, defeat the enemy, and then just jump back in. You can come over. And here we're just gonna beat these cats up. You also have this projectile type move, which is kind of nice. It just freezes people in place. So there's about what, 10 of these guys. And if you do a dash attack, he will stab with both fists, like that. So a lot of these enemies take 2 hits to kill. So there's your 2 hits right there. So we're back at this part, and one more of the platform where you have to put the ride armor on the platform and then raise the stage. This guy's gonna get in your way, be super annoying. Okay. So now we're just gonna move on to the next part. Right here, break those platforms with that. This is where it gets tricky, right? One more time. You're gonna jump over, get rid of these enemies right here, and then this is you gotta jump back in, and this is the tricky jump. You gotta make that jump right there. Now you can leave the right armor for a quick second. We'll jump over to the right here. And what we want to do is we want to drop that platform down. So the platform to the right came down. So now we have a place to put the armor. You can't bring the armor down because this is a conveyor belt platform right here. So we have to lower that platform first. Okay. And now we just managed to hit that switch one more time, and we can't get through there, so we'll just come around here. There we go. And now we can just break them, right? That's why we need the right armor all the way here. And then you can use the crystal wall. This is one of the powers where, like, if you don't know that it can like bring up hidden items, then you're always going to be kind of surprised. You're like, wait, I wish I knew that earlier. So that's something that I could look for. So anyway, let's get back in the right armor, and we're gonna keep going. There's one more thing that we do need the right armor for. That's why you have to shepherd it through this entire part of the stage. We're gonna have one more gauntlet. These robots, this isn't too tough. You don't even have to really stun them. If you just stand in the corner and keep punching, you'll be good to go. And again, you have plenty of freaking health, right? We've been very nonchalant about trying to avoid enemies, just dashing through the entire stage. So we still have a little bit less than half our health. So we need to do that. There's no way to heal him, unfortunately, even if you get heal items. So we'll keep going through here. And we're dash over to the side. Okay, this is one more part where it's useful to have the prickle barrier, which is it saves you from the one-hit KO of the spikes. So we'll let the rod armor go, and then we'll take the spike damage and then just keep going and use our invincibility frames. And so again, you have to have the ride armor with you for that part, otherwise it will not transport that platform all the way. So it'll take us here, and you might have noticed this one item in the background. You're like, how the hell do I get that? And this is how you do it. And this is probably one of the harder ones, just because, like I said, if you mess it up, gotta go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, moving on to this stage right here. This is one where you have several kind of challenges in a row. And for this one of the items you get is when you're able to complete several of these challenges with the highest possible ranking. So I'm just going to show you some example ones right here. If you have the spinny blade with 0, that's going to take care of half of them pretty easily. And you'll know if you got a good rank based on the little dots in the background. And so those are just a few examples of how you do that. And then once you get to the end, if you get between 5 and 7 good scores, then you'll get one item, and then you have to just quit out and then do it again, but you have to get all 8 perfect scores, and then you'll get the other item there. I didn't show you that part. Anyway, in one of the intermission aspects of it, you can use the gravity ball to get another piece of armor right here for X. This is going to be, which one is this right here? This is the Buster parts for our H armor. And I think there should be one more item in this stage. This one allows you both Buster parts for both armors, lets you do different kinds of charge attacks. Yeah, so in this intermission later on, this is between gauntlets. We just come up to the top. You wouldn't know it's there unless you are like very keen-eyed. You roll to the right, boom, there's a platform right there. Okay, on to the dark stage. So after you defeat that little ghost mob, those Caspers, you'll have this part where you have to play a little stealthy and just avoid the lights. It's not a big deal if the lights do see you, but it just makes life easier to avoid all of them. And so when you see that barrier enemy, the enemy at the bottom, you want to get rid of him with Axle, and that'll give you a copy chip, which we'll equip right now. You see that one right there? Okay, now we just want to keep going. And it will come in handy, I think, to have X, especially if you have the Icarus foot part, which lets you jump higher. So here, we're gonna do the salute. So you transform using this special weapon that we just got with Axel with the copy shot, and you do a little salute with the special weapon button, and that puts you in the generator room. And now we can give power to the generator using Axel's plasma gun, if you have that from the boss. Let's equip that, and then we're gonna spray this guy. See the lights kind of flickering, and eventually they will. Yep, they'll stay on. So here we're good. And wait, not done yet here. We can also use the crystal wall to bring out an item from the ground. Let's charge it up all the way. There we go. Nice. So now we're gonna stay on this top path, the exact one where we came from, and we're gonna run all the way back near the beginning. And we see these platforms. We'll just jump all the way through them. Those platforms won't be visible if you don't have the generator on. And later in the stage, if you take the bottom route, you'll see this platform right here, and there's a platform way at the top, which you can't even see the item there. You'll just hear the sound that you got that one. That's a really tricky one. If you don't know that that's there, that's rough. Now once again, later on in one of these laser areas, all you gotta do is gotta go to the top, and armor's right there. That one's pretty easy. I think it's the third one of those little elevator type stages, or parts of the stage that you have to do. And this is the body part for the H armor, and this just buffs you against if they're like Mets that are shooting lasers at you. You don't take any damage. Moving on to Avalanche Yeti stage, this is the one where you have the ride chaser for the entire thing. And you might be wondering, how do they even have items in the middle of that stage? Well, they don't. They're all at the end. So after you beat the mini boss for the second time and get through the rest, you have to use X and the weapon from, I think it's the Optic Sunflower, the light weapon. The Shining Ray, that's one. Yeah, that's what it's called. So we'll go ahead and use that guy. Boom, melts that ice. Doesn't really make sense because you'd use a fire weapon ordinarily, right? But yeah, here's one more armor part, is the head parts for the H armor. And you can just charge weapons faster if you like using fully charged weapons. And don't leave yet, because there's one more thing. We'll use the dash attack one more time with 0. And there's one more part. Moving on to Gravity Antonion stage. Near the beginning, you'll see these guys who can walk on spikes without dying. And that's important. We're going to have to copy shot them. So get rid of these bats right here. And then we'll copy shot these guys. Boom. Let's equip that. And I'll show you what that is right here. Right there. You can walk on spikes, right? Later on in the stage, we'll make sure we have that equipped. And get rid of these enemies. Okay. Now let's go up to the top. Right here. Get rid of this guy. Okay, now let's transform. And boom, easy. You just walk on stages at will. And here's one more piece of armor for our boy X. And this one is the head parts for the Icarus armor. This is the one that lets you do that upward attack. So every time you jump, you do an attack, which is just one of those nice things, right? It's definitely a creative use of the armor, something that we haven't seen before in any of the head parts, really. I don't think so. And then in one of the later, this is I think one of the bigger areas of this entire stage. And if you have the spike resistance, it doesn't really matter what orientation it is. You can get up either way. And there's one more part all the way over here in the corner. And in one of the kind of intermission areas with a high staircase, you have to space this a little bit perfectly. You can use Axel, and yeah, you just grab the corner of that block, and you guessed it, we'll have to use our good old friend, the crystal wall. And let's have it. Oh, one more time. There we go. Bring that guy out. And there you have it. So let us check our progress at the end of all of that effort. Let's take a look at our chip devs. So we got all these things. I haven't bothered to buy all of them. So these 3 allow you to play as the 3 operators, Alia, Layer, and Palette. I don't know. They spell their name differently here, I think, than in the operator selection screen. So we have all these. Again, not going to bother to farm the metal parts to get all of them. And for X, again, got quite a few, but we see we unlocked all those guys. For 0, we only have the one at the end, and this one is I think it's the Sigma Blade, which is unlocked when you start a new game plus, so we can't unlock it in the regular game. And then for Axel, yep, we got everything there. And if we take a look at our save file, then you'll see we got, I think, everything except for the Sigma Blade, which is that last little bit and that thing that's stopping our 2% completion from coming through.